Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hi. So today me and my group will present about past simple versus present perfect tense. So before we begin our presentation, I would like to introduce our member team first. So starting with me, my name is Siti Nunashra binti Ismail. The next member is Nurul Nabila Afikah binti Muhammad Sasrin Al-Qadri, and the last member is Mashitah Kamilan binti Zainuddin. So for our presentation, we would like to present about past simple tense and also present perfect tense. So let's begin with the past simple tense. Past simple tense. So the definition of the past simple tense is the action that started in the past and finished in the past. The action is not continuing now, and it also tells people about action that happened certain time in the past. It also emphasizes about the duration. For example, we were at home for 2 hours. I was in Langkawi for 3 days. 2 hours and 3 days emphasize about the duration. Next, there are a few forms of the tenses for the past simple tense. First is verb of be. So verb of be known as was and also were for the past simple tense. So for the I, he, she, it, we use was. And for the were, you, and they, we use were. For example, I was scared. I is the subject, and verb is was. And also scared, we plus ed at the end of the word to symbolize it as a past simple tense. Other than that, James was a teacher. She was sad. My dog was hungry. You were a good student. Your parents are at the park. Johan at park last night. Other than that, we also can make the word to form of the negative form. So to make the sentence in the negative form, we can use was not and also were not. For example, I was not scared. James was not a teacher. You were not a good student. Other than that, for the second part form of tenses, for the past simple tense, we have regular and also irregular verbs. For the regular verb, it is simple past and past participle are formed by adding the suffix ed. For example, Lion played a game. The car needed gas. You exercise for an hour. They usually work after school. So the word usually shows that it was a habit. Remember that past simple tense can be used to show past habit. Other than regular, we also have irregular verb. For irregular verb, it is formed their simple past and past participles in some way other than by adding the suffix ed. For example, I ate with my friends. Nara wrote a story. You often came home late. We bought a camera. My parents sent me money for a year. So the same goes with the regular verb. The word a year shows that it was a habit. So we need to remember that past simple tense can be used to show past habits. Next, moving to the number 3, which is negative form for non-be verbs. So to make a negative form for non-be verb, we can put did not or didn't after the subject. It can be used for regular and also irregular verb. We don't make any changes for the verb and we keep the base of the word. For example, I did not like him. I is for the subject, and after did not we have a verb which is like. So like, we keep the base for the verb. We did not add a suffix ed or change it to something else. Other than that, we have he didn't catch the ball. So he is there for the subject, and after didn't we use catch, which is the base verb. We did not use catch the. We did not eat some ed. Next, they didn't dance. We didn't think about that.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to present about present perfect. Present perfect divided into two categories. First, unfinished, and then second, finished. In unfinished, we use this tense when we want to talk about unfinished action or state or habits that start in the past and continue to the present. Usually, we use it to say how long and we need to since or for. We often use stative verbs. For example, I've known Karen since 1994. Since and for, we use since with a fixed time in the past, such as 2004 April 23rd last year. This is time that we could use. The fixed time can be another action, which is in the past simple. For example, since I was at school, since I arrived. And then the example in one sentences, I've liked chocolate since I was a child. And then we use for with a period of time. For the example, I've known Julie for 10 years. And then finish. We can describe it as life experience. These are actions or events that happen sometime during a person's life. We don't say when the experience happened and the person needs to be alive now. We often use the words ever and never here. For an example, we have never seen that film. Second, with an unfinished time work, such as this month, this week, today. The period of time is still continuing. For example, I haven't seen her this month. For the reminder, we can use the present perfect with a finished time work. For example, I've seen him yesterday. We can use it. This is wrong. More, a finished action with a result in the present. Focus on result. We often use the present perfect to talk about something that happened in the recent past, but that is still true or important now. Sometimes we can use the participle here, especially in US English. For an example, I've lost my keys and the result, so I can't get into my house. And then other example, they missed the bus and the result, so they will be late. Lastly, we can also use the present perfect to talk about something that happened recently, even if there isn't a clear result in the present. This is common when we want to introduce news and we often use the words just or yet or already or recently. However, the past simple is also correct in this case, especially in US English. For the examples, first, the Queen has given a speech. Next, I've just seen Lucy.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and my name is Nurul Nabila Afika binti Muhammad Sasra Kadri. For this session, I will be explaining to you on the differences between the present perfect and the past simple examples. So from this slide, we can see there are four examples for each of the tenses. So for this session, I want all of you to focus on the verbs and the time that are required, that are written in the both of the tenses in the examples. So on the first examples, we have on the present perfect, I have known Julie for 10 years. And for the past simple, I knew Julie for 10 years. For both of these tenses are different because on the present perfect we have the helping verb which is have, and for the verb in the past simple we can see here is knew, which is they use the past verb. And also the meaning between these two verbs are also very different. Where for I have known Julie for 10 years, which means they know Julie and they are still in contact with her. And for the past simple, I knew Julie for 10 years, which means they had lost contact with her. So this is the different meaning between these two sentences. So next, we move on to the second example, which is my brother has been to Mexico 3 times and my great-grandmother went to Mexico 3 times. We can see here the situation is similar, but the verb they use in these two sentences are also different. With the helping verb they use on the present perfect is has. And also for the past simple they use on the past action, which is went. And also I also want to highlight the character in these two sentences, which is the brother and the great grandmother. So we use the brother on the present perfect because this is we want to show the brother is still alive and this is his life experience, while on the past simple we use the great grandmother, meaning she is already deceased and this is her previous life experience during when she is still alive. So this character is also very very important when we want to build our sentences, which is between the present perfect or the past simple. So next we move on to the third example, which is I have lost my keys, and also I lost my keys yesterday. It was terrible. So for the third example, we can see they have the helping verb, which is have, and also both action they lost their keys. But for the past simple, they show that they lost their keys yesterday, which means they include time when they lost their keys compared to the present perfect. So we can see here the result is from the present perfect is the action is the result is they cannot get inside their house, which because they just lost their keys. And for the past simple, they show there is no result because the action is on the past, not on the current time. So which means that they lost their keys in the past, and maybe on the yesterday they can get inside their house, or they get a new keys. So these two meaning on the two sentences are very very different. So let's move on to the last example, which is I have seen John this week on the present perfect, and I saw John last week on the past simple. For these two sentences, so for the present perfect, we have the helping verb have, and also they use the time in this sentence too. But compared to the past simple, they use the sentence of this week. And for the past simple, which is they use the word last week. So these two sentences are shown the time of the action, which is they saw for the present perfect, they saw John during the current week they are living right now. And for the past simple, they saw John on the previous week that they just experienced. So we can see here the time between these two sentences are also very 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 different. Okay, that's all from us from group 2. I hope that all of you can understand the differences between the perfect, present perfect and also the past simple, and know how to determine the sentence is present perfect or a past simple. Thank you all for listening and goodbye.